I'm going to cover, as I say, our product update. It's been busy since our last update for everybody. I'm going to go through 4 sections. Little bit, Curtis touched on the pricing model yesterday when he gave the CEO update, and I'm going to go into a bit more detail about the pricing model and what we've seen in the first 5 months around upgrades and downgrades. Quickly touch on the ConneXions update. I'll talk a little bit about the marketplace, which is something new that we're launching, and I'll finish off with what to expect, what's available on our portal. For those that remember, we launched a new version of the portal back in November, October, November last year, and we promised that we would continue to deliver and enrich the portal, and so we've got quite a few things that are coming through the development cycle on that. So, any questions as we go through, please do ask. So the pricing model, as I say, you heard we wanted to move to a more flexible pricing model. One, was to really drive, as we're getting additional services, drive this concept of having multiple services down at one physical port. We also wanted to phase out the 1 gig port, so people that connect physically in at 1 gig. It's becoming increasingly difficult to support and manage those type of services. So we had this strategy. We feel obviously with this new model, there's a better upgrade path to 10 and 100 gig, and it means there's more flexibility. And as we get onto the additional services like Marketplace and what we're launching with self-service, hopefully this all comes together in a nice package. Why did we pick the speeds that we picked? I mean, you saw from Curtis's presentation, it was 1, 2, and 5 gig for the peering services over a 10 gig port, and 30 gig over 100 gig. And so this was our first sort of analysis of what would benefit the membership. But as always, we continue to take feedback on that, and we'll adjust as we go through there. But there's obviously a balance between what we can offer and where the financial breakdown occurs. So we've picked those numbers for now. As you'll see from the slides, there's been some healthy uptake. So we'll continue to analyse those bandwidth points. So in the first 5 months, we've had, so this is the 2 gig service. So to give a bit of breakdown there, we've had 35 orders. 1 new capacity, so this is somebody joining directly with a 10 gig access with a 2 gig peering service as an overlay, which gives them obviously 8 gig of spare capacity. We've had 1 downgrade, so 33 have been upgrades, which is fantastic. So for members that have gone from a single 1 gig service up to a 10 gig with 2 gig peering service, so that's great. That was probably ahead of what we expected, so positive on that. We had 14 orders on the 5 gig, so this is now taking a 10 gig service with a 5 gig peering. Now that was a bit of a mixture, so we had 6 downgrades, 7 upgrades, so slightly behind. We didn't, obviously we'd hoped for a few more upgrades, but if that's meeting what the membership needs, then also that's great. So we've seen a healthy uptake in that, and again we'll have those members that have taken that option will have that spare 5 gig capacity on the service to upgrade as needed. And what we should bear in mind, if you've selected 2 gig over a 10 gig, it's very easy. And when we come to the portal update, you'll see it's going to become very easy for you to upgrade to the next level of service through the LINX portal as well. So on the 100 gig, we've had 20 orders for the 100 gig service. So this is the 100 gig port service, but with a 30 gig payload. This was 5 new capacity, so this is new orders coming in, new members joining the LINX exchange with 100 gig, 30 gig payload. We've had 6 downgrades and 5 upgrades. 4 were lags, so these were people that would have been members that would have been taking N times or multiple 10 gigs bundled together, that then have taken 100 gig and gone with a 30 gig peering service. So, and this is an interesting one, because obviously what we're trying to look at is how do we smooth that progress from 10 gig to 100 gig, and this is an interesting breakpoint, this 30 gig one. So we're keeping an eye on that. We think that's slightly a bit ahead of what we expected. on the uptake, which is good, and we continue to monitor that. So overall, I recently went out to the GPF event and also RIPE and spoke with a number of members as I've had the last couple of days, and general feedback has been positive on this. We got asked for a few, how we pick the numbers and what's the future and where are we going to go. But generally, feedback has been really good. But we continue to monitor. So if you're in that point where you're looking to upgrade from 10 to 100 and you're thinking about the 30 gig point, then do come and speak to us, speak to our member relations team, and we can go through that, get further feedback on the speeds that they work. But yeah, generally good. I'm going to move on. So any questions on pricing model? Okay, so the ConneXions, only one slide on this. Obviously, with the port price changes, it means that sort of that had to be reflected in the ConneXions contracts and the pricing. So just as we've obviously come up with a new port pricing, we've had for members buying direct, we've had to adjust our ConneXions contracts as well. So there's been a process that Mike and the team have gone through. That's now been documented. It's been shared. I think Mike shared that with the team, with the ConneXions partners earlier this week on Monday. So everything's been communicated. All's been good. And this is really just about keep getting the contracts in line with the new pricing model that we've come up for the ports and the overlay services. So Marketplace, we're launching Marketplace. I think we gave you a brief introduction to Marketplace at the last LINX event, but we're now in a position to launch it. The official launch date is the 8th of June. We'll be launching under that URL, but obviously you'll be able to click through from the LINX portal to get through to the Marketplace, and we'll be monitoring obviously the visits and the services taken up. The Marketplace is obviously our first step into delivering these type of integrated services. At the moment, it will sit there with very much as a catalogue of services that will be available. If you, as LINX members, you've got a service that you'd like to add into the Marketplace, we would like to hear from you. Obviously, the services that we put on there need to have some, we want to have some commonality with the interconnection fabric, but definitely like to hear from you if you've got a service that you want to put on the Marketplace. And Mike and Lindsay will be then reviewing those that come in and going through that process. But that will launch on the 8th. It will, as I say, it will be more like a catalogue at this stage, but obviously as we mature this product offering, at some point we want to then do various service chaining so that you can order those services through the Marketplace and integrate that with a LINX offering so that you can then have a single point of contact for ordering and maintaining and upgrading, downgrading services on Marketplace. So we'll be sending out obviously some social media around that, and say that will be available from the 8th of June. Okay. The last area then to update on is the member portal. Hopefully you've all visited and used it, and if you haven't, please do get familiar with it. Feedback has been really positive on since we launched it on functionality back in say October, November time. At the time, the first we launched with self-service, and the first self-service functionality was the MAC address, and it's been really pleasing to see a number of members log in and use the MAC address, and so we monitor members that come into the NOC and ask the NOC to do the MAC changes, as well as members that use the self-service functionality. So we get reports on both, and so it's always pleasing to see when members come through and utilise that service and functionality for doing their own maintenance. So that's fantastic. And there's more going to be coming, so that was just the first. And I think what we wanted to emphasize is that when we launched the new portal in November, we launched it with a new look and feel, but we also launched it with full integration into all of our back-end systems for the CRM, updating for the billing, and updating for the automation side of things. So, the framework is there now, so that as we add more services through the year, you'll be able to take full advantage of that automation workflow. So what are we expecting to come up now? We've got a number of features that are coming to maturity and that will be released. The first one is this port-based service view. So obviously, focuses on if you're once you get a port-based service, like a cloud or a private VLAN or a closed user group. So obviously, if you haven't taken them, you won't see this straight away. But if you're logging in and you've got one of those services, you'll see this on the site. So you'll be able to log in, you'll be able to view your private VLAN, you'll be able to view your Cloud Connect, and as we launch more functionality, that will enrich the views that you get to see. So when you go into the portal, I think Mike's got a demo slide or like an example slide. So here, this is what you would log in. You would click through, so rather than port service, which is where you would probably go for the services today, but you'd go into the port-based services and you'd see those additional overlay type services that you can order, and if you've ordered them, they would go onto the service. And then as you click through, then you'll see this is an example of cloud connection services to Amazon, for example. So this is the functionality that's going to be launched in the coming weeks. So you'll be able to log in, you'll be able to see this, and as I say, we'll be able to start to enrich this, so you'll get click-throughs, you'll start to see more data that comes through as you order those services. And going back to the pricing model, this is geared for those members that want to take a 10 gig or 100 gig service, and you're going to have both peering services and one of these additional overlay services added to your port. The other area that we're going to be launching, I think this is coming out in about 2 weeks, is also the pricing information. So as you go into the portal itself and you start to order a service, or if you're going to upgrade a service, you will then be able to get a dynamic view of what the price is before you then take the order. So what that looks like on the portal is you'd log in for a new service, you'd select the type of service that you would want, and as you can see on as you're looking at it, the right-hand side, there's a price and information goes up, and that is dynamic. So if you add, if you select a 10 gig with a 1 gig peering service, and you say, oh no, actually I want to upgrade to 2 gig, then the price and information on the far side will update, and that will be the same for the closed user groups, for the private VLANs, and for the cloud services as well. You get that information, and then when you then click to order, it then goes through, and that will come. That's what's come through on your bill once the service is up and live. And then the third area is on functionality. At the moment, is going to be for ConneXions partners. But over time, this will be released as well for members to do for their services as well. And this is to enable the full end-to-end automation for ConneXions partners to manage their services for their customers, or for their members. So it links together our order management system and workflow, and it'll actually do all of the automation. So it'll take a service that's being added, it will then put it into quarantine, it will take it through quarantine and then through into production, and that will all be done without any human interaction. So it will just be managed through the order management system. So what that looks like, I'm just going to... So the order will come in, we'll go through, I think you can just see it on the side here, yeah. So on the left-hand side, you can see where you've got the kind of order life cycle. So the order comes in, there's 5 different stages. So you come through for order, inventory, and then it goes into quality assurance, which is around the configuration and the quarantining. It then goes through into provisioning. This will be where the connections ConneXions partner is working with their customer to make sure that the testing on their side is done. And once all of the testing is done, it sends a signal back into our system, and then the service is moved automatically from quarantine into production, and it goes live. And you get that complete order management life cycle update as you go through that. So you, as an end member, if you're connecting through your ConneXions partner, you'll be able to log into the portal and see that functionality. And that order management, that obviously builds a lot of the workflow into the systems, so that as we get more complex services that we're selling to the members, is you'll be able to get to see that direct. So while we're launching this for the ConneXions partners, obviously what will happen going forward through the rest of the year is we'll enable that for all members to be able to log on. And if the marketplace is successful and we integrate additional services, you'll also be able to combine the view of the partner service as well as the LINX service, and have that tracked through the order management system as well. And then the final area is events, and the fact that you're all here, or those that are registered online, means that you've probably already seen the new events panel. So we actually rewrote the events panel completely for the start of this event. So LINX116, when you registered, you actually went through a new front-end functionality for the events portal. That was released, and it was released in time for us to use it for this meeting, which was great. I think, yep. So you can see you probably would have all gone through this process, details and registration, and gone through, clicked through, and registered. So that's all working. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to be releasing more functionality more functionality on this over the coming months. There's a phase 2 that's going to come out. Less of that's going to be member facing, so when you come for registering for LINX117, it will probably look very similar to what we did here, but there's a lot of back-end work that's going on around administration and management, so it makes it easier for the LINX staff to manage these events and update the agenda and things like that. So that's going to be coming as well, but that's very much in the background. And then as far as, I think, roadmap, what's going to be coming up in the future, later in the years. So later in the year is the order forms. So when we launched the new portal, some of the order forms were just iframes that were dragged through from the old portal to the new one. So as we go through the year, the rest of the year, we're going to retire all of those iframes and move them to the dynamic order forms, which will then give you the dynamic pricing. We're also going to enable more self-service, so that functionality that I showed you with the ConneXions will also enable for members direct, so you'll be able to log in, order your private VLAN, close user group, upgrade, downgrade, and delete, and that functionality will be fully enabled for portal as well. And you know, just as time goes on, we're going to continue to extend and enhance the views that you get. And we welcome feedback on all of that. So we've got a number. I think we mentioned it before. I think Curtis mentioned we're going to be doing some member engagement interviews and get feedback. Please do give us feedback on this functionality, because these features we prioritize every 12 weeks. We have a backlog of features that we prioritize for releasing to the membership, and a lot of those features come into that backlog through discussions that we have with all of you. And you know, the goal here is to continue to improve the experience you have when you log on through the LINX portal. So do give us feedback on that. And that's it. So hopefully Mike's up there, Mike H at linx.net. So if you've got any questions, or if you do have any ideas around the marketplace, do contact Mike. But I'm also happy to take questions now, if there's anything. No? Excellent. Well, thank you for your time, and thanks for coming for the last couple of days. It's been great meeting everybody, and I'll see you again soon. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Richard.